sure what's going to power up here when this turns on. Hey, lights. Alright, so still have to drill that. Yeah, that's what the secondary hull looks like. This looks fantastic back here. I was able to get the seams built in, put into place. The sides are done. I put a coat of, after the Aztecing, I did a coat of just super light pearl, and boy, it's got a gorgeous glisten to it. So I'm gonna do a coat of ultra clear over this and then start the decaling, and then once the decals are in, I'm gonna well, touch the nacelles first and then do the decaling, whatever the mode is, but that has turned out really fantastic. And then eventually we'll get into that blue there for the additional piece. So that is step one there on the secondary hull. And we'll put that to the side for right now. On the primary hull, we have made also good progress. Again, another coat of the pearl over the top of that, and it was really light coat of pearl. So all this color came through. It's coming through really nicely. Of course, don't mind my tangle of wires. I do have the gray pennants pasted on, or painted in, actually, using loose mask, painted in the black. There are decals for that, but I like it better painted, plus it's more of a challenge. I'm now ready to do these lifeboats here, and then do the red on inside of those, and then we'll get painting on the thrusters on the bottom, and not much more detail to go on the bottom, so that's going to look pretty quick, pretty fast. Lots of decals to go on the bottom and some paint, and actually there's some detail painting here on these pieces that I'll do. So making good progress here. The top has been taped off, ready to do the stay with me now. The top has been taped off, and now we're ready to spray in these lifeboats. And then what you do is you take the mask and then you spray in the red line around it. I'm working off of Lou's masks, and that's what he says to do. So that's what we're going to do in the interim here as we come even so much closer to getting this taken care of. So wow. All right, right now they're covered, but these lights are all covered with mask, but they're still shining through pretty nicely, which is exciting. So those are all coming up, including the ones here across the top and the sides. Same thing with the bottoms. Those are come in really nice. Again, these are covered by mask. You can see a little bit of light shining through there. And yep, there's a light for the front. I don't know where the green, there's the green, and the red might be over there somewhere. So we'll make that happen. Anyway, so we've got good progress there. And well, there's the red up there, so the red must be across the bottom. Alright, so that's just the primary hull. I'm ready to paint in the phasers. Those get black with a white tip, and then paint in these lifeboats. And I think I don't know, placing a couple that missing, but these vinyls are nice. You can peel them up and then put them right back down, and you're good to go. So that is progress. This has been painted here, so that's going to go in like such. When that gets fitted in there, I am going to do this dark gray is going to go into that rib right there, and I think that's going to look good. So now that I'm on the path, all the Aztecing has been done. Now let's see if we can get all this together, and I'm almost done with the detail painting, quite honestly, and the next is the decals, and then we'll put it together and we'll call it super good. So that's an update. I know you've been waiting for one for quite some time, but this is a quick update on update number 6. I think this is going to look great where those lights are shining down onto that other, where they're shining down here onto where the registry is going to go. And for right now, I'm good with that too. So for right now, I'm going to call it good. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing the video. I will be back with you with more update number 6. Welcome back. We're still in update number 6. and welcome back to the Sloppy Modeler. Just wanted to give you a quick note of what the next problem is as we're working through this. So what I was able to get accomplished was the nacelles wired in through the pylons right there, but that caused a fresh problem on that pylon, and it caused a fresh problem on that pylon, and so now, and these are just taped in, so now what I have to do is lay in another layer of epoxy in there. And unfortunately what you can see is that that's going to be a bitch to then paint and deal with. But then there's another problem, which isn't too awesomely bad, but that is a pretty good light leak coming right through the paint on top of that where there's just supposed to be a blinking light. Again, the nav isn't hooked up to that yet, but that's going to be a next piece. So I'm going to have to lay across maybe a layer of really dark gray or maybe even primer to darken that up on the outside, and then I'll get that to blink. Now, one thing I do know it's going to happen, and I'm not going to show it yet on camera, that's going to be fine. The teeth, or whatever you want to call it, on the back approach are going to look awesome. However, the hanger light is this light on top. The hanger light is that light right there, and that's going to blink. So the hanger is going to have a blinking light in it. There's nothing I can do about it. Not going to be fun. And I also see that I've got another little fresh light leak right there that I have to work with. And then who knows, once these nacelles get opened up, there's some light leaks there. And so we'll see. But anyway, so that is that's kind of what I'm dealing with here right now, is working through how to close those back up. It happened when I was trying to feed all those wires. There's 6 wires that go down through there, including some other problems that I had. And again, this has just been such a sloppy wiring job that I'm not sure which direction I have to go. But, you know, some of it's looking all right. And then I did get this just placed in here, and that will actually look better once I get it sealed up and glued up. You've got that pretty good sized light leak there, and a pretty good sized light leak there that I'm going to have to get through. And then this gets a photo etch part over the front of those, and that's going to look very cool, I think. So I'm alright with the way that's going to turn out. Just have to get that placed in and glued in, but I'm not going to quite glue that in until I get the saucer on and wired. That's probably going to be the last thing I do, is that piece there permanently in place, because I got to do some of the wiring as we come through there. The rest of that turned out alright. You know, so I think I like what's happening as far as the neck goes. Time to get some paint on that, and I'm going to get some epoxy out now and get those nacelles epoxied on, and my cracks there that have opened up, I'm going to get those filled back in with an epoxy, and then start the fill and primer and paint again for the touch-ups. You can see that the nacelles are kind of blinking and glowing. Who knows what's going to happen when I pull the tape off of that, but it is what it is as well. So for right now, this is a Sloppy Modeler saying thank you, and we'll come back to you with more information on update number 6. Alright, so I have used an 8-minute epoxy, plastic bonder, high strength, 15-minute epoxy, high strength structural adhesive, JB Weld. Comes out tan, and here's my mix, 50%, 50%. And I was able to clamp that down, and then I'll sand that back, and same thing with this one here, and that's got epoxy inside of it, and I'll sand that one back, and then I'll set these nacelles inside. I wanted to let those have time to clamp and close up and seal up before I did anything else with jamming these things back down. So you can see though where the wires are. You know, there's 6 wires there, and then 6 wires there on that side that we needed to be able to deal with. So again, this is just such a long challenge, but we're getting there. And as soon as I'm done with these nacelles and pylons, the rest of this is going to move pretty quick, because I'm about ready to attach the saucer section to the neck, and then it's decaling time. I'm going to put a coat of high gloss clear across the whole thing in order to deal with making sure that these water slides slide. I don't think I'll lose my luster on some of the stuff, and it actually might help it bring it all up to an even level, and then I'll dull coat it after we're done. Those turned out particularly nice. Pulling those out and then painting over them, I think that looks really sharp, and they light up well. So I think we're in good shape there. So we're just moving along. We'll be back with you shortly. All right, making more progress here on the USS Enterprise and update number 6. And you can see some of the things that we're making progress on. There's the bridge has been painted. The dome is still covered with tape. That'll be clear, but it's got the desert yellow or the tan around that, and then that dries to a little lighter color. Here is the yellow in for the thrusters. You can see that the lifeboats turned out pretty nice on here, and you can see the different colors on the Aztecing have turned out, and the gray pins there are gray tones for whatever that T-shape is, and this one here is the same T-shape as well. And then across the back, that turned out pretty nice there. So definitely making progress here, and we will continue to do the detail painting and then get this into a full clear coat. That's actually probably next. I've done as much painting and damage as I'm going to do on it. We'll do clear coat next, and then from there we should have the ability to put decals on it. And I'm not sure how to deal with these, but there's like the overspray of the blue, and I think there's a blue spot right there. I don't really want to touch it up, so I might just try in a little bit of more overspray there. That just looks darker on the camera than it does actually in person, but I'm going to see if I can figure out how to clean that up just a little bit, maybe with some latex paint remover. So we will be back with you. Thank you. Hey, welcome back to the Sloppy Modeler, and we are at a crossroads, I believe. So we have made a lot of progress with the secondary hull and the nacelles and all of it that goes with that, and the primary hull. So on the primary hull, we repainted this blue line around the bottom because it was giving us a significant amount of grief, and we have now painted the secondary hull and the nacelles and everything that goes along with it with a coat of pearl. And the nacelles have been installed onto the pylons. Pylons have been resealed, everything's been epoxied, and for right now we're making some pretty decent progress with some of that. Additionally, the sensor deflector dish is ready to go on. I've now put that in, and that's ready for a decal that goes in there. That's actually going to be very cool when it does go in there. That's going to be really sharp. I painted that inside gold, the outside blue, and it lights up blue under the lighting. These nacelles took a boatload of work, but once I got them on, epoxied with my 15-minute epoxy, let them set up, they're really solid. And this just came out of the paint booth with a coat of epoxy, I'm sorry, with a coat of pearlescent. So I went ahead and I re-Azteced all of the pylons and parts of the nacelles. So those have been re-Azteced. And then as a blending coat, rather than using white or my wedding cake that I used for the original base coat, just a nice coat of pearl. My Aztecs still show through under the light, and I'm kind of excited about that. The next step for this piece here is to put on a coat of this hard clear, and that'll look really nice. That'll give me still a nice sheen, and that will bring out all of the, it also tends to bring out the Aztecing is what I found once you get that coat of clear on there. Once that coat of clear is on, then it's decal time. So we'll start putting the decals. We'll get most of the decals on that, and then join it to the secondary hull and the primary hull together at the neck, right here, and then do any touch-ups. And now that's supposed to be a pretty clean joint, so hopefully that won't take a lot of touch-up. But we'll do the touch-ups on that to get that done, and then we'll get the decals put on to these particular pieces as we move forward. So this has been a long, tough slog to do this kit. Just skill sets were completely devoid of any accuracy on this one. Maybe I was trying to do too many new things at once. I did learn a lot. I did have a lot of fun doing some of this stuff. But boy, was it frustrating throughout the event. But we're coming towards a quick close. I'd say probably another couple of days, and this will be taken care of. But I am really excited with the way that, you know, like some of these lifeboats turned out. I think I mentioned earlier. The top of that looks really nice, and that'll get a dull coat over that. That'll take some of that sheen off of that desert yellow tan. The tape comes off. That'll be clear. This piece is in and ready to go in, and that looks really nice. Just a couple of pieces of glass that go into there. There's one. There's the other, and we are making progress. So again, this is something that has been a super challenge. And a super fun build, in spite of the challenges, in spite of the hard lessons won. It's been kind of fun. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I know that this has got to be painted, and there's a one on the inside that's got to be painted, taped off and painted, and that's where I usually screw up, is on something like that. But nevertheless, we'll continue with the progress that we've made and are making, and we are continuing to see if we can't pull this together and make it worth displaying. I haven't really thought about the base yet. I know it's going to be a big pain, a big challenge, but I think once the base is in and the switches are in, with a couple of momentary switches, one for the nav lights, one for the anti-collision lights, they're going to blink at two different rates. That'll be pretty nice. And then we've got some more work to do on the front deflector housing. Once I get everything wired, that'll actually be the last piece that I do. Once I have everything wired, even through down to the base, that's going to be almost the last thing we'll do. So thank you for staying with me, and we are almost done with update number 6. Got a few more updates here in number 6 to do, but I want to get this, and then I'll do a conclusion. Rather than doing a part 7, I'll do a conclusion, even though it's taking me a little longer to get to the update. Number 7 or conclusion. As far as posting time, I think it's worth it to just do one more update number 6, finalize it, and then do the reveal for 7. So I've got a couple more pieces once we make progress. So until then, stay with me. And all right, hey, welcome back. We are nearing completion here in update number 6, and I just thought I'd walk through a little bit of what we've been doing here. Just for the last little bit. Sorry about the low light situation, but I'm trying to illustrate a couple of things. So, as you can see, we've got the saucer attached to the lower hull. The nacelles are attached to the pylons, and we've started to do some rudimentary decaling. Got some touch-ups to do, especially like right here, where my blue paint ran a little bit, but that shouldn't be too difficult. And then you can see here where we've got the black primer is where the neck met the hull. So that's been just brushed in, and it looks like that has taken care of all of the light leaks that I had in there, and that's why I have the lights down, to see if those are off. I do have one more light leak that's in the back of the hanger here. You can see where, I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that, but it's where the door meets the top of the deck, but we'll get after that in a bit, and then we'll continue to do some more decaling. On the top of the nacelles is where we've done most of the work so far on the decal side. So in essence, what we've got is these pieces here on the side are in now on top, kind of like right in there. That looks pretty good. And then these gray wings around the edges have been put in, and they need to be trimmed up a little bit with my Stanley knife, but that looks pretty decent actually. And then I'm kind of thrilled with this here, how this turned out. Basically that is been put in there with flat aluminum is what I used for that particular color. Just hand brushed it in. I think that looks good. That is still taped off, so we'll bring that out here shortly. And then I think we're making some progress on some other stuff. Again, I think that neck attachment point, it looks really good. And now this is dynamite. I've got the piece in here. I didn't do the upright yet because I wanted to make sure I could get to that paint with an airbrush, or at least with a regular brush, so that it wasn't too hard. And then I've got a light leak right there, which is above the, I got a light leak right there on that front piece, but that hasn't been glued in yet, so we'll get that one taken care of next. And then we're still making fast progress here, so I'm kind of excited. And we'll see how fast we can get to a gloss coat, or I'm sorry, we'll see how we can get to a dull coat would be the final touch here. But we've got a little bit more work to do on the decaling. I haven't put any of the decals on the top yet, as you can see, but you know, just kind of looking nice across the line. The anti-collision light on top, that light blocking has actually turned out pretty good. And then there's a big decal that goes down the center of the spine in the back, and of course more decals on the nacelle. So we're going to continue decaling and painting now that this is dried, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, hey, working on the decaling. Here's some more progress. The water bubble. There's their gray stripe, and then here's the really gray stripe across the top of the nacelle. And we'll go all the way around, I guess, maybe. Anyway, close enough. And then across the top, those pieces are in. And across the gray there, come across here, same thing. And you can see those right there are brand new, and then we've got the gray here that's in and around the base there. So actually pretty excited about that. Just painted in that JN gray stripe across the top, and then this blue decal will go over the top of it like that. Now I did cut that out in the middle because that's really kind of a pain to go over that base like that. And then same thing here, that'll have the same issue, you know. So making progress. I hope to have this done by the end of the weekend. It's Friday night, and we're just we're making it little by little. There's some color blocking with black or really dark gray, really dark gray primer. I'll hit that with white, and then I'll hit with this pearl coat. This pearl coat does really pop under the light, and of course this has got a gloss coat on it, so we're still getting through that. And once again, here's the lifeboats. That's going to be the big pain to do around the bridge with that red stripe, you know, the red pinstripe, a nemesis of mine. Anyway, just more progress, and we will come back with you shortly here. Alright, hey, so I don't know how much you can see in this low light, but we've got some light happening here. Those are the big spots for the registry. I've got my green LED, all my white and greens, and I think that's going to turn out really sharp when those start to flash. There's my red, there's my soft white. The white and spots there look good, and there are the flashing units, and who knows how those are going to look. That light leak is pretty well gone. There is one that's still in the hatch I got to figure out, and I got my two lights back there working, so I think it's starting to look pretty cool. Anyway, that's kind of the first initial blush. Down below we've got those are going to look great now that I see them for the first time. I've got the photo etch parts in the deflector dish housing, and got some light leaks there I got to work with, but I think that's going to look alright. Kind of get some looks there, and spots underneath are shining off pretty good. So anyway, just a quick review. We are sprinting towards the finish line now, so this has been one heck of a tough model, but I'm liking what I'm seeing now, and we'll talk to you soon. Welcome to the Sloppy Modeler. We are closing in on the end of update number 6, and we'll talk about exactly where we're at and what's left to do. Primarily, I still have both some body work and some decaling to do. You can see she lights up pretty nice, so that's kind of exciting. But let's turn off the lights here for a bit, and give you a couple of views of what we've got to deal with. So the first thing I want to show is dealing with where we're at with that back there. So I still have to fill this section in. It still has too much light, so I'm just going to fill that in with like a clear microcrystal clear, and then paint over it, and then that will take care of that. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. We started to unmask some of the different pieces here. Like for instance, we're unmasking that section. Oh, let me get figured out here. There we go. Unmasking that, and that turned out pretty nice. And the decals across the top, we're making progress there. However, I don't like this, got a little chip in it, so I got to fill that in. And then coming around the side, we're all right until we get to this point right here. And I think what I'm going to do is go find a 1/32, and that's about what that is. Maybe 1/16, but I think it's 1/32. Blue pinstriping, vinyl pinstriping, and I'll peel this off and tape over that to make that complete at that stage. So we've also got this here completed, which is the line around the top, and we've got the pinstripe in around the top. That turned out really nice. And we've got some decals that are done there. I've got the stripe here on the side done and completed, and that goes all the way out here to the NCC 1701. And so we're making progress there. The decals have been not so great on this. They've tended to break on a couple of spots, so I've been working through that, and then using my microsol to set them in, and there's still some spots that they're not settling down so well, so I've got to work through that piece of it. On the front, I now have those two sections there that are in play, and that is the photo etch part over the front, and when light turns on, that light block is awesome and it looks fantastic. So we are really, that's my last body work, and some light blocking is around that section there. After I have all this decaled off, and I got to do the side of this here, after I've got all this decaled off, then I've got to do another coat of paint around this here, and that's looking pretty good. I just have to spray that with my little tiny airbrush and bring that back into play, and then I'll do a coat of the mother of pearl over that from Martha Stewart. So for now, we are coming towards the end of this. I've got to glue in the blue pieces here, and then untape the back of the nacelles and do some work there. But yeah, we're getting there. And the other thing I was trying to work through is figure out how to use this new close-up. I think it looks like it works pretty good, and hopefully that'll give us some better in-focus shots of the close-ups. Unfortunately, this is absolutely the wrong model to do close-ups on because of all of the challenges that I've had, both body work and paint work and lighting, etc. But we're still going to see if we can't pull some of this together and give us at least a decent outing by the time we're all said and done. So that is more of update number 6. I'll be back with you here shortly, and we will conclude update number 6 with our next update, and then on to the finale. Well, I want to welcome you back to the Sloppy Modeler and to the end of update number 6. We're closing in. We're not quite there yet, but everything is now prepped for a final bit of spray, and then we're going to be off and rolling as far as the final decals. I want to tell you a little bit about what we fixed. I found this 1/32 by 120 inches dark blue pinstripe tape from Linotape. Found that at my local hobby shop, and I replaced the decal that was trying to surround that. And I think for the most part, I'm really excited the way that turned out. I fixed the side pieces, and that's taken care of, and so that is awesome. Very thrilled. In the interim of fixing that, here's my interior stripe on one side. this one completely disintegrated on me. And I've had more trouble with decals. I've had more trouble with decals sticking to this than I can remember. I don't know if because I glossed this or what the issue was, but like that right there is loose. You can see it's loose, and I need to run some more microsol, and I lost a few pieces now back here that I see. And again, all this handling, all this working after the paint job is on, and then working with building and so forth. Continue to deal with that. Under here, we've got the photo etch in sanded, and its first coat of primer on it. I'm going to sand it down to a little more light blocking, and then put a coat of paint of that. The neck is ready for its coat of paint. The primer worked out fantastic. And in the back, waiting for one more piece of glue to finish right here, but essentially right there, finish some gluing in there, and then I'll put more primer over that, and it'll be done. And I am done with messing around with this model. Not that it's great, but you know, this one has been so long in the works that I'm sick of it. It's been almost maybe almost 3 months now. So what we're going to do is spray that with our base coat color. There's no reason to do any more Aztecing, and then gloss it, finish up the decals where the decals need to be finished up, and then do a coat of clear matte coat, or maybe even a satin, because I do like a little bit of sheen to this. So we'll get there. So once that's done, we're going to wire it into the base, and that's going to be a real simple base. I've got my decision made on what I'm going to do there, and that just has to be sprayed and painted and ready to go too. But for the most part, once again, we're making progress on finishing this up, and in about time. I'm really challenged. What I might do yet, I might spray a coat of clear over the decals that are here, and then let that dry, and then I still have loose mask for that interior stripe, and I might use this sky gray, which is real close, real close once it's dry. Use the sky gray, and which is this right here for the keystones, and paint the stripe in there. Now, I think I'm going to have to brush it in, because getting an airbrush in there is going to be really hard. Maybe I can do it, maybe not, but we'll have to see. However, still, I'm going to finish that stripe up and finish the decaling up, and then we'll wire it in the base, and then we will be back with you at the finale. So until then, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking your time out of your day. I know you could be anywhere else in the world watching the entirety of YouTube, but I appreciate you spending a little time with me watching this. I hope you enjoy the new work that I did on the new intro and new outro. That took about 6 hours of video editing with multiple layers on that, on the gold, and that intro and outro that I put together. Changed the font up a little bit, and that is done. So this is part of this video number 6 here, and so it's been a learning process on all of these things. Stick with me. I will be back for the finale, and I appreciate your subscriptions, your shares, and your likes, your comments. It all is nice, and so we'll do this, and then we'll have this finished up by next weekend, this coming weekend rather, and for as much as I'm going to do with it, I should say, and we'll call it good. Thank you.